Hey everyone, Justin here, and recently I uploaded a video on Cartoon Network talking about 5 problems with the modern version of their product, and that video was really well received, so thanks guys. But I feel like I can really expand on that subject, not only with Cartoon Network, but also with the inclusion of Boomerang and Adult Swim. See, a lot of people always complain here on YouTube, but rarely find a solution or way to fix the thing that they're talking about, so I guess you could say, we're gonna try and fix Cartoon Network. Honestly, this is our chance, our opportunity to have our voices heard now more than ever, and the group that is Cartoon Network, at least from a viewer perspective, is in a really tough spot, so maybe they're going to be listening and maybe they can take some of this feedback and put it to good use. So we have legendary studio Cartoon Network. I remember watching this network back in the day and falling in love with so many of their great shows, like Courage the Cowardly Dog, one of the creepiest things that I've ever seen, and it's a kid's show. This thing terrified me as a kid. On a side note, real talk, you guys are a bunch of babies. Return the Slab isn't even that scary. It's not large margin. It's most certainly not You're Not Perfect. Case settled. But apart from Courage, there were so many other shows that grabbed my attention as well, like Ed, Edd n Eddy, my personal favorite show on Cartoon Network and nominee for the best show that they've ever made. Yes, it's that good. Banana, 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 banana. That's basically the music from that show. It's so good. But not only was it hilarious, but it was expertly written, so kids and adults could both take something from the show. And Rolf, very underrated character. Right next to Plank. Yeah, you disagree? Well, you probably didn't watch the show. Yeah, that's hard to say with a straight face and be serious. And you know, with the Eds and Courage the Cowardly Dog, they had other shows like Johnny Bravo, the Powerpuff Girls, the original run, Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Lab, and yes, the infamous I Am Weasel. All of these shows really paved the way for the next period, the middle period. Why is it called that? Because it took place in the middle. And moving into the middle period, they also had some really great stuff as well, with Ben 10, Chowder, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, a personal favorite of mine, Camp Lazlo, and Johnny Test. Yeah, obviously the best of the bunch. No, that show is absolutely terrible. How is that show still on? How? The middle period with Cartoon Network holds a very special place in my heart because if you look at it, it's kind of like the precursor to the stuff that we've been getting over the years in the modern day. In early 2010 and moving forward until now, we've seen amazing shows rise like Adventure Time, Steven Universe, The Amazing World of Gumball, Clarence, We Bare Bears, and Regular Show. A lot of people have been asking, and on a side note, that Regular Show finale was fantastic and a perfect send-off to an amazing show. Mordecai and Rigby 25 years later? I swear, man, when I'm about 30, I'm gonna look just like Mordecai when he was 25. So with a lot of awesome hits on their hands and a few not-so-hits with reboots that they tried over the past few years, and if you guys aren't familiar with that, check out my last video. We touch on that topic a little bit. For like 13 minutes. But you know, with all of this stuff happening over the years, it really does beg the question, what are they going to do next? So from the viewer perspective and growing up with Cartoon Network over the years, now being 20 years old and looking at this at so many different angles, I feel like Cartoon Network needs to step back and do less of what they're currently doing today. And before people freak out, hear me out about this. Don't get me wrong, obviously back in the day, there were so many shows that kinda weren't so good, but on the other side of the fence, they had so many great shows that counterweighed the bad, and I feel like today, that just isn't the case anymore. People will argue that they have hits on their hands like Adventure Time, Steven Universe, The Amazing World of Gumball, We Bare Bears, Teen Titans Go, and Regular Show, but just like Regular Show, with the exception of Teen Titans Go, I feel like a lot of these shows are going to be ending soon. Which ain't good. As I stated earlier on in this video, and as a lot of you guys know, Cartoon Network's Regular Show recently came to an end, and it's not because Cartoon Network canned it or people stopped watching or stopped caring, it's not because any of that. It's because the people behind the show, the creators, felt it was time for the show to come to an end naturally, and as a fan of the show, that's more than I could have ever asked for. But that's not the case for a lot of the stuff that's recently been going on Cartoon Network and behind the scenes. News has been spreading inside and outside of Cartoon Network saying that a lot of their shows are going to be ending in the coming year and years to come. I'm not confirming anything because I know just as much as everyone else watching this video, but Adventure Time is ending. The Amazing World of Gumball is always on some crazy rocky road. We Bare Bears, well, I'm like the only one that cares about that show. I wish more people watch that show. I just don't understand why people don't like it. It's kind of like the next step of regular show. At least I feel that way. And Rebecca Sugar has stated that the television end of Steven Universe could be ending at the end of season 5. So yeah, things aren't looking too great for the current slate of shows on Cartoon Network that at least people like. Granted, for the most part, all of these properties have expanded outside of television, and I'm sure they'll continue to do so in the years to come, which is really exciting. A regular show, Adventure Time, or Steven Universe movie sounds great, and it just seems like the next logical step to wrap things up or add more to the universe. The thing I want to know is, will the regular show movie be called The Regular Show Movie, a regular show movie, or The Regular Movie? That'd be cool. That is, if any of that stuff ever does happen. I just feel like it would make a lot of sense, like I said, to expand on stuff and to kind of keep fans happy. But to put everything into perspective, Adventure Time has been on Cartoon Network for 7 years, Steven Universe has been on Cartoon Network for about 2.5 years, and The Amazing World of Gumball has been on for 6 or so years. So these shows are starting to have a bit of age on them, and We Bare Bears, well, that's just, it's a show. It's on, and I'm the only one that watches it. Please watch that show. So I guess you could say these shows are starting to have a bit of age on them, which is perfectly fine. Shows are around for years and years and years, and people still love them just as much as when they originally came out, but it does beg the question, what are they going to do next? What is that next step for them? Because this era kind of is coming to an end. It's this era of Cartoon Network that we're journeying into that just seems really unclear, because a lot of their best stuff that we're watching now is in talks to come to an end or is actually coming to an end with Adventure Time, Steven Universe, Gumball, etc. What is Cartoon Network going to do? Are they going to live off Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls 2016, Mighty Magiswords, Ben 10, the new Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs television series, Johnny Test, Sonic Boom, and the new Tom and Jerry show that doesn't really get talked about? I mean, that doesn't seem like it's really going to set them up for success, and kinda like I'm going to get a few diseases from it. That doesn't sound fun. If that's the case, and that's the next generation of Cartoon Network and the stuff that us fans of this network that we've been watching for years have to look forward to, I really don't know what to say, but I guess you could say that my first thing I would like to fix when it comes to Cartoon Network is the quality over quantity aspect. And honestly, as a huge fan of the network, besides all of the shows I've talked about that could be ending, well, there's not really a lot that the network has for us fans to look forward to. And that ain't good! In my personal opinion, Cartoon Network's current catalog of shows that they're ushering in for the next generation all feel the same. Teen Titans Go feels like Powerpuff Girls 2016, and we really don't need more shows like that. The diversity is gone. That thing that was so creative in there seems to be lost, and I wish they would really get back to that. With the roster of shows seriously suffering, the stuff on the network being played is obviously going to suffer and be affected as well. So let's say you come home and you turn on your favorite network that happens to be Cartoon Network, and you expect a variety of shows to be entertained by, right? Maybe some heavy hitters get a block of episodes that are going to be played back to back, maybe 1 or 2 times, right? But when it comes to Cartoon Network, yeah, that's the case, but it's taken to an extreme. So the person goes and they turn on Cartoon Network, and what do they see? They see Teen Titans Go, which is expected. It's one of the network's most popular shows, but, maybe a small block of 2 or 3 episodes is playing, maybe, Maybe. Nope. Sometimes Cartoon Network airs blocks of 7 to 8 episodes of Teen Titans Go back to back. Why? What is the point of doing that? Why? I am not lying. Cartoon Network runs these, basically marathons of this show. Then they'll complain when a show doesn't do well, or when no one cares about a certain show, or maybe even when a show gets canceled by them. But they seem to not be able to understand that they're doing this to themselves. They're the ones putting themselves in this position. People will bring up the argument that Teen Titans Go is their most popular show, so why not keep airing it? I'm not saying that. You can air whatever you want. It's your network, and I'm not in charge of anything you guys do over there, but give other shows a chance. Give them that opportunity that Teen Titans Go keeps getting over and over and over again. You guys are doing this to yourself. You guys are killing your other programs by not airing them, by not pushing them, by giving Teen Titans Go all of the network's time. It's really sad because honestly, you guys have a great catalog over there, but you seem to not want to utilize that. How do you expect people to give your other shows a chance when you can't even give that show a chance, or when you keep doing the same things over and over and over again? When you keep doing the same thing over and over over again with no change and no innovation, people are going to get bored, and honestly, it makes you look like one of the most bland, uncreative, uninventive, and useless networks. And on a side note, real talk, I feel like a lot of people here on YouTube are thinking in that same way. Think of something new, be creative, take a damn chance instead of pumping out the same useless throwaway videos. Trust me, right? I've done my fair share of lists and stuff, but hell, I take the chance and I do stray outside the lines, and even when I do a list, I try to switch it up. I put so much thought and effort into my videos, and I feel like if you look at my first video until this video, you're going to see a crazy evolution, and that's rare. Here's a hot knife, let's cut some stuff in half over and over again. What does the world come to? I'm glad that trend is over with, man. But getting back to it, and with Cartoon Network, I don't want to see them go in that direction, milking the same thing over and over again without taking chances. You guys have created some of the most creative shows of all time, from back in the day to just about a few years ago. I'd say till today, but honestly that's just not that true anymore. Maybe I've been hanging out with Patrick and sleeping under his rock, but it just doesn't look like they have anything really announced for now and the future, which is a little shocking because a lot of their shows are leaving and coming to an end. But let's hope that they've been cooking up something great over these past few years that is going to really shock us and wow us, because honestly that's all that we really want. The little things that they do are fantastic, like, you know, the new art style that they've been promoting over the past 7 years, starting with Adventure Time. It's creative, inviting, and just has a great vibe to it, even though it's starting to get a little overused at this point. I personally still enjoy it. On the same hand, we have other great stuff like We Bare Bears, my personal favorite show currently on Cartoon Network, and it's a gem really hidden in the rough. It's great, it's self-aware, and it really knows what it's doing, and it does that thing right. My personal favorite episode is when the bears take a trip to MemeCon. I know people are going to say, hey, don't you hate memes and shows? Don't you hate that internet culture? Well, like I've said in some of my past stuff, there's a right and a wrong way to do it, and We Bare Bears is the right way. Teen Titans Go, that's the wrong way. It's a show that people will love if they give it a chance, just like I did, and I guess you could say my words of advice for Cartoon Network for their shows, yes, shows, because believe it or not, there is more to this. It's honestly the same advice I gave to myself earlier this year. Sit back, think of a great idea, put your heart into it, and put some real time into it, no matter how long it takes you, just like you did with Adventure Time, Ed, Edd n Eddy, and especially Steven Universe. I may be completely wrong when I say this, but look what happened to those shows. They're huge successes and beloved by millions, and obviously that has to do with the core of Cartoon Network and the scheduling of their shows. Apart from all the new shows and stuff that Cartoon Network has been working on and bringing to their network, they have a great vast catalog of shows from the past that I've touched on in this video, and they should really utilize that stuff, but it has to come at the right time and on the right network. And this is where Cartoon Network seriously has to overhaul Boomerang, and a lot of you guys brought up the fact that Boomerang does exist when I said that they need a The Splat type network, but I can't be the only one that thinks that it's not being used that well. As Cartoon Network ages, they're going to enter and leave multiple eras, and Boomerang should really reflect that as well. You can correct me if I'm completely wrong, but I thought Boomerang was supposed to be a network that airs classics, stuff that isn't on anymore. Hence the name, Boomerang, everything's coming back. But their current lineup is so lacking and barely shows that. Sure, they have Chowder, Foster's, and Courage, which is great, but they're also airing stuff that's currently airing on Cartoon Network as well. Why do we need two things doing the exact same thing? It's weird. You thought one network with Teen Titans Go was bad? No, how about two? It's ridiculous, it's crazy, and this is a real thing that's happening, and I want to know, where are the classics? Where are the shows that people are demanding, and why can't Boomerang just be rebooted, but honestly with some time and thought put into it? Because we all know those reboots never turn out well. Why can't this network be what it was designed to be? A network to show classic shows, and it really does remind me of Cartoon Network when they were airing live action stuff. Like, why was Cartoon Network airing live action shows? It's the Cartoon Network. Honestly, what I would do with Boomerang is overhaul it. Show some classic shows that you would expect, syndicate some stuff like Scooby-Doo, the Flintstones, Tom and Jerry, and the Jetsons, and then play some older stuff from Cartoon Network. Go from 2008 and back to the start. I feel like that's the real sweet spot as of now. And then as time progresses and naturally moves forward, like maybe, 10 years from now, or maybe never, introduce it then. And I mean, it just doesn't really make sense, at least from my perspective. Why would someone on Boomerang that's going there for old stuff want to watch stuff that's on Cartoon Network currently? They're going to Boomerang to escape Cartoon Network in the modern day, but you're just giving them what's being played on your network in the modern day, so then they're probably not watching that as well. I thought Boomerang was, you know, to play old stuff. I thought this was the corner of television to kind of play old stuff. It's in the name. I'm done with it. I can't talk about this anymore. But moving on, with Cartoon Network and Boomerang, there comes a third arm, which is Adult Swim. I remember being obsessed with Adult Swim as a kid, which is kind of ironic because now as an adult, I'm not really. But Adult Swim does know itself and the channel, and it has never really not been Adult Swim, which can be a good or bad thing, really, depending on who you are. As always, I haven't seen a network crowded with more throwaway shows than Adult Swim, but that's Adult Swim. It's sort of always been this weird testing ground for shows. Personally, it's kind of always been the same take it or leave it network that I've always kind of viewed it as. We still have classics in production like Robot Chicken and Squidbillies, as well as the best show currently going on the network and arguably television, which is Rick and Morty, and I mean, I guess that's more than enough to keep them afloat moving forward, but where is season 3? Where is season 3 of Rick and Morty? It's getting ridiculous at this point. A lot of people always ask me to rip into Adult Swim, but I just can't, because Adult Swim has always been Adult Swim, and it's still Adult Swim. There's nothing to change and there's nothing to fix. What do we expect from the network that greenlit 12 Ounce Mouse? I mean, I don't know. They oddly know who they are and they know their audience and what they want, and it's weird because Adult Swim is Cartoon Network and Cartoon Network is Adult Swim and Boomerang is Adult Swim and Cartoon Network, so why can't they just take some of their own advice? It's honestly one of the weirdest things involved in this whole situation, and remember how I said that there's more to this and how I alluded to there being more than just television shows that I want to talk about? Well, with Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, and Boomerang, there also comes a few video games. And in that category, it doesn't look that great as well, and you think that would be awesome for a person like me, right? I love video games. Video games are fantastic, but the problem is, for the most part, they're all pretty bad. None of them are really good. All of the Adventure Time games, the regular show game, the Ed and Eddy game that I showcased here on the channel a few months ago, Battle Crashers, Punch Time Explosion, the list could keep going on and on with all of these mediocre or just flat out bad video games. The only good game to ever come from the Cartoon Network group, in my personal opinion, is Pocket Morty's, and sadly enough, it's just a clone of Pokemon Yellow, so how could it really be that bad? The best game that you guys ever made was just a ripoff of another game. Like, why does this have to be? And I mean, they are licensed games, so people will say, oh, they're going to be bad regardless, but why does that have to be? Just because they're licensed games doesn't mean that they have to be bad. These just seem like cheap cash grabs, and you know, Battle Crashers, that game didn't even have voice acting. Are you kidding me? Guys, where's the heart, where's the love, the things that these games truly deserve? And it really does look like, from the outside looking in, that you just slap the names of these intellectual properties on these games just because they're popular and people would buy them. It really does look like that. I don't understand why they're not listening to what the people that are viewing and playing their games want. It just doesn't really make any sense. People have been asking for years for an open world Adventure Time game. Could you imagine exploring the world of Ooh as Finn and Jake and just having so much fun as those characters in this awesome world that has been created in this television show for 7 years? Why isn't that a video game? It just makes so much sense, but they're not doing it. It really does make me think, are they in this to make an awesome game, or do they just want the quick buck while these things are still popular and hot? I mean, you know, I understand, right? It's a business, they need to make money, but you can also make something good at the same time. Look at Rockstar. Red Dead 2, it's gonna be phenomenal, and they're gonna make boatloads of money on that, and it's gonna be a great game. Why can't you guys do that? Make something that people actually want to play and not some half-baked experience. You'd sell more copies and critics would be praising them, and you'd be selling more copies off of that as well, and on top of all of it, you'd have your pride of making something great, and it would show that you guys are really trying. It's a small gripe, I know that, but it's one that's been on my mind for quite some time now, and it all goes back to that focus on quality aspect that I feel like Cartoon Network as a group has really lost and desperately needs to get back to. It's like they were kind of, you know, going through the motions and someone came over and knocked their glasses off, and for all of these years they've just been stumbling on the ground trying to find them, and it hasn't been the same since. As you guys can probably tell by this point, I'm a huge fan of Cartoon Network, and I do not make these videos to drag them through the mud. This is me trying to help them and steer them in a direction that I feel would be better for them. I actually sat down with myself and was like, what could I do to kind of help these guys and maybe bring them into a new era that would bring them a lot of success? What can we do do as a community to kind of steer Cartoon Network in a better direction? Everyone talks about how great the past was, everyone talks about how miserable the present is, but what about tomorrow? What about the future? What does the future hold from Cartoon Network, and what is this thing going to look like years and years and years from now? And hopefully we will have some small fingerprint on whatever that actually is. Like I've said many times in this video, it's never been as foggy as it currently is for Cartoon Network. What are they going to do for us, the viewers, to keep us engaged and coming back to their network? We're just gonna have to wait and see. Cartoon Network has had a very interesting journey, and obviously along a journey, you stumble and fall. Trust me, I've had my fair share of mistakes, but you gotta listen to the people that are there for you, and you have to be in tune with them and what they truly want. And when you give yourself to them in a way that they can see that you're actually trying, in a way that they can tell that your heart is truly behind this, they're going to respond positively. And that's all I want to see from Cartoon Network. I want to see their heart again, because I feel like for the past few years, their stuff has been pretty heartless. Over time, you should see a natural increase in quality, and you should want to push yourself to keep doing better and better and better. If I ever made something that was as great as Adventure Time, Regular Show, or Steven Universe, as a network, I would want to keep upping the ante and challenging my opponents and making them keep trying and pushing me. You have to keep pushing yourself naturally to keep putting out better and better and better stuff. That's just how it is. I use myself as an example a lot, and a very small example when it comes to Cartoon Network, but I've made the effort. I bought a camera, a microphone, lights, this desk, all of this crazy stuff behind me throughout the years, just because I'm on that progression to making something great. I feel like this video is miles better than the stuff that I was putting out months and months ago, and that's just because I want to give you guys everything that I can. You're sitting there watching this video forever how long it is, and you're giving me the time of your life to watch this, and if you're doing that, then I should be giving you the best that I possibly can and more. The reason why these videos take so long to put out is because I put so much time and effort into them. Everything that goes into this video is calculated. Every single word is written. Like this one. Whether how bad or great that is, every video I put out, I want it to be better than the last, and that's just the natural progression of me. That's my drive to create something that I think you guys will enjoy while staying true to myself and making stuff that I truly want to make. Like I said, you guys are taking the time to subscribe, watch, and support me, and that means the world to me, and I should be giving you guys my best work, the best thing that I can possibly do on my journey at the current time, and I just wish Cartoon Network had the same outlook on creating stuff as I do. And rounding out this video, I know people are going to make the argument of saying that, oh, we need the bad stuff to really showcase how great that awesome stuff is, but that shouldn't be the case. Just make quality and deliver what people want, and make that argument obsolete, just like Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls 2016, that awful Ben 10 reboot, and Mighty Magiswords. As always, guys, this is where you come in. Get in that comment section down below and let me know what you think, and give me some great examples of things that Cartoon Network could do in the future moving forward. Follow me on any of the social media websites currently being displayed on screen, and as always, if this is the first video you've ever seen from me and you dig my style, hit that subscribe button to be notified whenever I upload a new video, and click that little bell icon to be alerted whenever a new video goes live. And to bring this video home, if you had fun watching it, hit that like button because I had fun making it. I love every single one of you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys!